Guys, we are down to the wire. It's hometown dates. Check out this reality recap of the Bachelorette week 7. Stay tuned. Hi there, Simpli Subbies. Welcome back to the Simply Stacey YouTube channel. I am actually doing a reality recap of this week's or last week's episode of the Bachelorette. It was hometowns week number 7. I know I teased that I was doing week 6 and 7 on the last video. Something came up and I didn't want it to be too long, so I just went on and made them 2 separate videos per usual. So one will be behind and this one will actually be on time before we get down to the men tell all and then the final when we find out who the top 2 guys are and who Michelle ultimately picks and who ultimately picks her in the end. I'm hoping for Joe. Y'all know I love Joe. But anyway, let's get into these hometown dates. So I was actually thinking that they would go to the hometowns. Since they flew to her hometown from California, they went to Minneapolis, Minnesota. So I'm like, okay, cool. The pandemic is lifting. Travel bans are being lifted. They're going to go to these people's hometowns. But I'm wrong. So again, they actually all come to Minneapolis. But I guess it should really be called Family Week as opposed to Hometown Week because nobody's going to anybody's hometown. I thought they was about to be traveling, honey, and going places, but they are not. So I'm assuming that everyone's family was COVID tested and showed up in Minnesota. And the guys still get to show her a little bit of their home, but it's not, the same. So how this all takes place and starts out is Tayshia is talking to Michelle, letting her know that, when she met people's families, that's when things started to really get real for her. Speaking of which, did y'all hear that Tayshia and Zach broke up? Child, I never seen it for them anyway. I definitely wanted Ivan to win. But now thinking back on it, I don't think Ivan and Tayshia is the best match. So, whatever. But I did love him from her season. But I really was going to ship him and Brie, but Brie didn't show up at Paradise. And then Ivan, Lord, if y'all watched Paradise, y'all know what happened. But anyway, I still really like Ivan. So maybe him and Brie can hook it up sometime in the future. But I do know that Brie made a guest appearance on this week's episode. So I was super excited about that as well. But let's get to it. So basically, Nate is saying that he's kind of nervous, or Michelle is saying that she's nervous about Nate because he has never introduced anyone to his parents before. He did express that to her last week. And so the first guy that she has a date with, remember we're at the final 4. We have Nate, we have Brandon, we have Joe, and then we have Rodney. Those are the 4 guys that are still around after last week's episode. And those are the guys whose family she is going to meet. This is the first time, I know I probably said it last week, that the final 4, I believe I could see her with any of those 4 guys. I think that they all have genuine feelings for one another. Her to them and them to her. I mean, there have been many layups. You knew that the person just got carried along because it was good for TV, or you just never really saw these connections in some of the other final 4 casts. But it looks like Michelle did what she wanted to do, and she picked the guys that she really was into. Or maybe they was also good for TV. Who knows? So first up is Brandon. I really like him. He has like this jovial, I don't want to say juvenile, but like infectious personality. He seems very playful. They really seem to get along. He said that his mom and dad and his brother Noah, who is supposed to be leaving for the Navy, that all of them are coming to visit and meet Michelle, and his brother actually delayed going to the Navy so that he can be there, and he said that this should let her know how important family is to them. And yeah, so he's super excited to see his family. He is from Portland, Oregon, and he says, Michelle, you have gotten me out of my comfort zone a lot, and hopefully you'll see a little bit of yourself getting out of your comfort zone on our date. So he takes her to this skateboard park. It's like on the indoor skateboard park. And it's so funny because he's trying to show her his moves or whatnot. And yeah, yeah, he's not doing so great. Michelle was like, well, maybe he just rusty. He needs to practice a little bit more. And then she said, that's how I was. Well, that's how I am with basketball. And I'm like, girl, bye. You was whooping all them men on the court and Joe when y'all was doing y'all one-on-one games and practice. But it was so funny. She was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's like, dang, I'm crashing and burning out here. I'm trying to impress her. She making me nervous. I ain't doing so hot. But now, he ain't 14 no more. So I could see how he could have lost that skill, even though he used to do it all the time. Plus, it's skateboarding. That don't seem easy for anybody to do. So she participates. They have this fun little, it's an empty skateboard park. So they're out there having a nice little day, and they talk about who she's going to meet. And then after that, there's actually the family meeting. So they go to the family's, I guess, hotel room, and they say, hey, tell us about, y'all's journey. And it was so funny because I had forgot completely that Brandon is a dude who rolled up in a bed. So he's telling his family, like, yeah, I rolled up in this bed and I was telling Michelle that, I want you to know how it is to wake up next to me every morning. And she was like, yeah, I didn't technically write you off then, but she was like, look where we are now. Because basically, I'm like, yeah, you would have been cut that night because that was so corny. So the brother I apologize for my brother's corniness, basically. But it was cute. They had good times and good laughs. And so basically the brother pulls Michelle to the side and he says, I'm kind of skeptical. I know that you're dating 3 other men. And he asks her a couple questions and says, do you think that you can see yourself with Brandon? And she does say, 100% he is someone that she can see herself with in the future. And next up is Brandon and his mom. So they're having a chat. And she says, what do you like about her? He's telling her, she's a strong woman, one of the strongest women I know outside of you. And she just makes me feel special. And he thinks that she is his person. So I will say Michelle is really good about these small moments. And that's why they're so big for her. Because she does them for all the guys. She's pulled Brandon aside and done the Swedish fish for him, and all the time she's making him feel special. This connection is between them and is not compared to the other guys. And so he really thinks that she is his person. So Michelle and his dad talk, and it was really lighthearted. He didn't have any really tough questions for her. She started asking him oh, what do you feel about fishing and playing basketball? Because, my dad and brother, I can see y'all all fitting in and having a good little family dynamic. After that, she does talk to his mom, and the mom is like, I think it's important for you to know that Brandon is genuine. He's not an actor. He's not a player. He's a really good guy, and I think he deserves somebody that knows that about him. And basically, she asked Michelle, what do you see in him that you don't see in the other guys? And she says that, I'm always laughing with him. He's super fun. I feel like we are becoming best friends. And, I've always wanted to marry my best friend. And he has a super big heart. And, yeah, so the family definitely likes her. The mom is happy that she sees him for who he is. And Michelle and Brandon go off when he's walking her out. And she does tell him that she is falling for him. And they do share a kiss. Now, Brandon told her that he was falling for her last week. And so I guess she kind of returned it and told him that she's falling for him as well. Next up is Rodney. So Rodney was Mr. Granny Smooth. I'm like, nah, ain't this funny? All the guys that's still sticking around with these ones that came in looking crazy. He came in on night 1 in the apple suits. And he didn't know the difference between Granny Smith apples because, again, Michelle does a small moment. So she pulled him aside and had a taste test blindfolded and all that stuff with apples. So he actually takes her to an apple orchard, I think. So if y'all remember Michelle's poem when she was saying that she was always picked last, she was picked last for the prom, and that she wasn't the girl who was taking on apple orchard dates and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. It's a play on his little costume. He brought an apple for the teacher. Then they go and pick apples out in, I guess it was in Minnesota, but I guess that's something that they do where he is from. And yeah, it was cute. I was like, okay, so these guys be listening to her. So they had a fun time there. And then they go and visit his mom and his dad? I think it was his mom and his dad. So not Michelle, but Rodney's mom and him, she's like, me and my son are like best friends. I was cracking up, but yeah, they that close. And it was just so cute to see them together. And basically she wants to know, how their little story goes. And they say basically they had their one-on-one really early on, and it just kind of picked up from there, and it just kept progressing. So the mom pulls Michelle, and she asks what sets Rodney apart from the other guys. And she just says he has this level of playfulness, and she's always just laughing when they're together. And I do think he's one of those jovial people that just, you can't help but smile and, play when you're around him. He does seem very, very genuine as well. Rodney's dad talks to Rodney, and he's asking like, son, are you sure this isn't too soon? And he says that she checks all of his boxes, and, he thinks that he really likes her. The mom is concerned that he could have his heart broken, which is a valid point. She is dating 4 guys at the moment, and she just wants, them to be careful, and she just wants to know if she can see it with him. And Michelle says that she can see it with him. She's looking for like these little small moments, and with Rodney, she feels like if they were in an airport and their flight was delayed for 5 hours, she would like to be there with him. She would enjoy it. It wouldn't be stressful or anything like that because of the guy he is. So yeah, she can definitely see it with him. So the mom and Rodney talk, and he says Michelle is worth the risk. Because remember, again, she's a little bit concerned he can have his heart broken. And he says that Michelle is strong, and she is kind, and she is caring. And she makes him laugh, and he believes that he is falling in love with her. He also tells Michelle that he is falling for her. They share a kiss, and she does say that, his apple doesn't fall too far from his mom's tree. Like him and his mom are like one and the same. And it was a little cute, pun intended, play on words. Next up is number 3, and this is my favorite guy. It is Joe, Minnesota Joe. So basically, he actually gets the hometown because him and Michelle are from the same hometown. So he actually got to plan a hometown date, which meant probably more of his family was able to attend because it was local. And he actually got to do stuff he would do if she came to Minnesota because she lives there. And that's where they were. So they go to his old high school. He says, you know what? You took me on a date. Last week they had a one-on-one date, and she took him to her high school and showed her where she played basketball and her locker and all of these things that made her who she is. So he said he would return the favor, took her to his high school. But when they got to the court, it was not about basketball. It was so super freaking cute. And it was set up like a prom. And so in Michelle's poem, again, when she says she felt like no one asked her. So Joe asks Michelle to go to prom with him, and it is so cute. They change clothes, they do the photo booth, they dance. They're having a good time. He said he's never been to the prom before, and she said no one asked her to go to the prom. So it is perfect, and you can tell, again, Joe actually listens. I am shipping them. I think he's definitely in the final 2, and if she doesn't pick him, I don't know what she's gonna do. Okay, so it was just such a cute date. Then they talk about like who she's going to meet. It's going to be his mom, his dad, and his brother, and his brother's wife. So his sister-in-law. And back in the day, Joe did say him and his dad wasn't really emotional. He didn't show his emotions much. And so that is one thing that is a recurring theme when they all meet. The mom brings her some candy for her students. So it seems like her mom and him had education in... Okay. So Joe basically says he definitely feels something for Michelle. He lets her know that he's wanting to show her a different side of him, and she is seeing the different side of him. And he doesn't discuss his emotions or show them very much, but he is definitely working on it. Joe and his dad are talking. He said it's a good but crazy process. He tells him to express himself to her, which is really good for his dad to say, especially since they didn't go around the house doing so. it's kind of quiet. He's like, you got any questions? Not much. The sister-in-law is very talkative. She says that when the men in that family are nervous, they're very silent. So it's kind of going to be a quiet little situation. The mom talks to Michelle about him expressing himself. She asks, does he do that? And she does tell him about the one-on-one, tell his mom about the one-on-one they had where he actually cried when he was talking about his injury and how that ended his basketball career. And the mom was like, well, that means a lot that he even did that for you, because he didn't even talk to me about a lot of stuff that he was going through at that time. He just kind of went to a dark place, and that's really good that he opened up to you instead of just shutting down. He does tell his brother and sister-in-law that he has feelings for her and that he is ready to propose to Michelle. I didn't know that, but I'm glad that he did tell them that. And he says he's working on opening up and expressing his feelings to her. The sister-in-law said you have to do that if you want to, like, be a contender. He does tell her his feelings are getting stronger and that he is falling in love with her. And she says that he feels that she is the special person for him. So that was so cute. Of course, she says she sees herself with Joe, and Joe says he sees himself next year living on Lake Minnetonka with Michelle. So that was real cute, because that's what she told Nate when they were on their date. That's always where she wanted to live, on the lake. And they're both from Minnesota. It just makes perfect sense. So fourth up is Nate. Nate is from Austin, Texas. And they start with a walk in the park. He said that's what they do a lot in Texas. They paddleboard. They are having such a cute day. They're always around the water, always looking hot and handsome in they swim gear. And paddleboarding on separate boards, racing, then on the board together and kissing. It was just a really cute day. They really had a good time. She does say him not ever talking to his family or bringing somebody home to meet them is kind of a red flag, but I mean, isn't Nate? He's fine, and he's 6'5", and she's definitely going to keep dating him. So she's meeting his mom and his stepdad, and I did not know this man's name was Nathaniel, and like Nayte is his nickname, Nate, which I could see that being a nickname, but how it was spelled, I thought that was just his name. But his name is Nathaniel because that's what the mom kept calling him. And his mom actually brought candy. She said, I guess maybe they have education in common, but when she would bring Canadian candy to her students, they would, it would just really make a good impression. So she brought it for Michelle for her students. I thought that was so cute. And they talk about their date. He got the first impression date. He was the first guy out of her limo. There was a connection on many levels. That is what she said, draws her to him. It's intellectual. It's fun. And the mom does say that she's afraid he's kind of getting swept up in this whole process and doesn't really know. The mom talks to Nate and they say, he's like, well, we've never really talked about like dating and women, but the mom asks like, well, are you prepared to propose? He says he's not 100%, but he is headed in that direction. I'm like, sir, you got one more week, so get it together. Either you are or you're not. So that was a curveball I didn't see coming. I always assume people that go on The Bachelor, The Bachelorette are ready for that next step. I don't think I knew that Nate had never been in love or never brought his, I don't think that was discussed as much other than him never bringing someone home to meet his family. So the dad and Michelle are talking. The dad just says that they seem happy, but Nate has never been in love before. And he's not sure that he is ready, to make that kind of a commitment. He doesn't know if Nate is ready for marriage or what that entails. And yeah, that's basically it. So Nate and his stepdad, they actually sit down to talk, and they actually express their feelings. He, again, like Joe's family, said that they really don't talk about their feelings and relationships and things like that within the family. So him and his stepfather shared I love yous for the first time during that conversation. It was really emotional, and I was like, okay, he's opening up, and maybe this is why he's never fell in love, because he's never, kind of experienced that at home. I'm not sure. His mom does like Michelle, but she just doesn't know if he'll get there. Okay, then Brie and Sabrina. Again, I was talking about Brie earlier. They were from Matt James' season with Michelle. They've become best friends, and they come to visit her, and they're talking like, Michelle, one of your concerns was that you just wouldn't be able to get there with these guys. And I think it's so. Michelle actually came to Matt James' season when they were into the process. So I'm feeling like maybe that's why she didn't think that she would be able to get there. comparing it to her time on Matt James' season, she came toward the end. She did make it far, but I don't know if she thinks she could get there. So she does tell them that she had to bite her words or eat her words because she feels very strongly about all 4 of the guys. And they're like, oh, wow. So they basically talk about the fellas. And then Michelle says she was hoping for clarity during hometowns. And someone will be heartbroken, including her. They're at the rose ceremony. And so one person is going home. The guys that are safe. First she calls Brandon. Then she calls Nate. And then she calls Joe. Joe gets her final rose of the day. And Rodney. Poor Rodney is going home. And I am not surprised. She does walk him out. I feel like when she was describing what she liked about these people with Rodney, it was more like he makes me laugh and we have fun, but not like, it wasn't the best connection. I think she has the best connection with Nate and Joe. I think she does like Brandon, but in my mind, I still see Nate and Joe. The fact that Nate now has his parents saying he may not be ready to propose, that may put a red flag in it. So while I was saying Joe and Nate for the final 2, it could be Brandon and Joe, but there's always that we don't know who she's going to pick or if they're going to pick her back. So it's probably still going to be Nate and Joe. But those are my ideas. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think, who you guys think is going to be there for the final 2. I'm so excited to see this season wrapped up. I really thoroughly enjoyed this season of The Bachelorette. Tayshia and Clara's season was just okay. I wasn't like feeling it. But this season, I really love Michelle Young's season. So let me know what you guys think. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Please send me your comments down below. Let me know. I'm going to respond to any of the comments that I get. I am also trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so share my videos. I have more things on success, entrepreneurship, lifestyle, fashion, travel, and then also my weekly reality recaps. And right now it is Vlogmas, so check out my Vlogmas the 1st through the 25th of December. I will be having holiday content every single day, so definitely hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be notified each and every time I post. And if you are still looking for Christmas gifts for your loved ones, friends, and family, then please check out the Simply Stacey store. The link will be in the bio, but that is staceyhuddleston.com/shop. Mugs, we have journals, we have sweatshirts, we have joggers, we have candles. Just check it out, guys. You won't be disappointed. Until next time,